I instantly thought of something else, and that is over here. Oh, look at this guy. It looks really strange. Kind of scary, I guess, but hey ho. Hey there guys, Spexxy here. Welcome back to Retrospecs. Here I am as the Batman. Yes, this is the Batman mod. The costume designed by Durf looks pretty awesome, I have to say, and this inspired me to finish a build I'd been working on for quite some time. Now, I'd put it on the back burner, but I wanted to finish it off. Once I saw this Batman mod was a thing, I thought this is the time to do it. So what I've got to show you a little later on is definitely Batman themed, but before I do that, I want to show you a couple of new mods that are in the workshop. Now, these are by Lord Payne. Now, you remember Lord Payne has built a couple of custom pistons, such as this one. Now, we know as how pistons work. Here is a vanilla one. You basically set the distance or the range and the speed in which you want it to travel at, and when you press the button, it will do exactly as you asked and travel the distance required. The same with this one. If I go back where I was to start with and press the 1 button, it will just lift us up into the air. That looks wrong. That looks altogether wrong. Get off it. Okay, and then there is this one. Now, this one looks like just a basic sort of pipe piece, but when you press the button, it extends to a long pipe. Now, I thought if that was possible, it must also be possible to do something else, and this is the something else that I'm talking about. So it looks like we have 15 blocks high here, but when I press the button, they go down to 1 block. Here in the middle, that is the piston, and yeah, it raises up and lowers down just like any other piston, but instead it looks like a series of blocks and not just a piston like we used to, where there is no pillar, there is no hydraulic, if you like, there is just a block that extends. So it all looks pretty funky. Now, like any other piston, this has no collision, so you can jump straight through it much as you can these pistons. Yeah, they all work pretty much the same. You can jump through any piston because there is no collision on a piston pole. Okay, so that, I knew that would be a shortfall to this. However, I thought it could be good for visual sort of builds that didn't need collision. So here I have a door that I built using the very same mod, the very same piston. Now, it looks pretty cool when it opens. It's worked on a series of timers here and a rainbow effect going on, and when you press it, it kind of opens up and shuts the same. And yeah, it looks pretty cool. Now, like I said, there is no collision. This is only visual. If I walk through this, I will actually go straight through it. Aside from the middle, where there has to be a block. You can see the colour slightly changes here. There has to be a solid block. I can't walk through that. But the rest of it I can walk through because there is no collision on it. So it is just a visual thing. But I think actually if you put this into practice, there could be quite a lot of builds that come out with using this that could be pretty cool. Because it kind of just looks like your block is stretching, and I think that looks pretty awesome. So thanks Lord Payne for that. I will have to think of a lot of other ways of using it. I'm sure there are a few. The little Batman sign up here that I worked on, let's probably not dwell on that too much. It's a little bit simple. It was a quick effort. But behind here, as you would have already saw, there is the Batmobile. Now this is the building, No, this is the build, the vehicle that I've been working on. So this is the Batmobile. Let me just jump in. Now, I know there's been a couple of other Batmobiles. I think Moonbow made one on a live stream. Lewup's made a transforming one. This is just a standard Batmobile, and it uses the Legend mod. Let me just get it away from everything else for a second so we can have a good look at this. So the one key will open and close the roof here. Now, bear in mind that this is being scrap mechanic. This kind of gets stuck every now and then, like doors tend to do. And they never used to do it, I think, in the very early releases, but they tend to do it all the time now. And if it does get stuck, you usually would use the paint tool. However, on this build, it's probably advisable not to. Or if you've got to paint something, paint the glass. Because if you paint the black here, you're going to have to use Durf's paint tool to paint it back again, unless you just load it in again. Because I am using a custom paint tool by Durf, which I'll put a link in the description below to. Actually, it's pretty cool, that can change the colour of any of your bricks, and it's the only way of getting jet black into the game, which I have here for all these blocks making up the Batmobile. Now, I think I'm pretty much happy with how this came out. It was the Moonbow stream that I was watching that made me think I could build one of those. And yeah, I think it came out pretty cool. So I'm going to have a quick look around the outside and then we'll take it for a spin. So, details then. We have these funky little bits at the front here, which are just the thin sort of panel pieces that came as part of the polygon pack for Durf. Yeah, they kind of work pretty well. They're on an angle here, so we get this little bit of detail on the decals there. We've got some bit of a design underneath here of bits we don't really know what they are, machinery and all sorts of things. If you look at the picture of the Batmobile from the Michael Keaton movie or the Tim Burton movie in the 90s, this is kind of what was under the front part there. There's all these bits so we don't really know what they are. I've got fans in the side here. They will move when I move, so they're pretty cool as well. And we've got a big fan in the front here. It's also hiding a couple of other little secrets, but we'll find out those when we get inside. And using the Legend mod, I have this thruster, which is just the part to make it look authentic for the movie. There is nothing like this in vanilla scrap mechanic. Of course, you've got the normal thrusters, but they sit on a 2x2 block and therefore don't have a center that you can put in here. This car has a center point, so this actually is a 3x3 thruster and can sit on a center 1 point. So yeah, there you go. That is pretty cool looking vehicle, I think you'll agree. Now underneath the front of this, I am using a little axle. Let me show you before I get in it. This is like a little axle steering on the front. So the steering from the driver's seat is connected to these bearings here. When they turn, these loose bearings can turn and the whole thing will move on both sides simultaneously. So the wheels will turn on both ends. But what that means is that this bar in the middle stays straight. It's all welded together and therefore they can't oversteer. So it can't sort of freak out, because sometimes they spaz out and go all over the place, and it was definitely doing that before I put these in. With these bars in place, it kind of keeps the wheels in check a little bit, and you can see that when I get in there. Let me just lower that down a second. I'll jump in, or at least on top. I'll raise it up again just a bit, and then I'll jump in and you can see what I mean. So if I do the steering now, you see the whole bar steers and they can't oversteer. So when I had them on just a suspension and one steering bearing each, they kind of freaked out and went backwards sometimes, sideways sometimes, and got stuck underneath the chassis. But they don't do that when you use this system, so it's all pretty cool. Okay, let's get rid of that lift then, and then we'll take this thing for a spin. Let me see if I can jump out. Like I say, you will need the Legend mod for this. I think it's a Japanese or Chinese mod. I'm not sure, but it is available, of course, on the workshop. It is pretty cool, some nice features in it. There are a few pieces that are definitely robbed from other mods, but it does have some parts that are completely unique. So let's jump in. I've got the interactive parts by Lord Payne here for the steering wheel. When I steer left and right, it will steer as well. The seats themselves look pretty cool. I've kind of custom built those, as you can see, like little speakers in the back there. Yeah, custom seats all come out pretty cool. So let's shut the roof. There it goes, nice and slowly. Now the switch you can see just in front of the windscreen there on the side is how you open that. These fins came out pretty cool as well on the back there. So steering it then, as you see, it steers okay. It can't really oversteer, but it does have thrusters keeping it down to the ground. Now the reason for that is being such a long build and being reasonably fast, the thing was taking off, kind of flying through the air. So the way of stopping that was to put some thrusters, downward thrusters, that activate when you press the throttle, and that will keep you to the floor. Now you can hear those as I drive this, but yeah, they all kind of work pretty well. It steers reasonably well, it does drift a little bit, and like I say, it's quite cumbersome because of the simple length of it, and I think that was true in the film. It was a very long car. So yeah, all looks pretty cool, and if I don't crash it into a rock, although it survived it, that's not too bad. Yeah, so it all looks pretty cool. Doesn't really donut, it's too big to do donuts. The lights on the back will come on when I brake, and when I start accelerating, they should, there you go off.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
I could be learning, you could be earning.
that's what it looks like. Now, what else can it do? Of course, there is a little bit more. So if I press the 2 button, we have these lovely yellow lights. Now, I went for yellow because of the Batman theme. Thought yellow will look pretty cool. 3 is the thruster. You can't see it on the back there, but it's put the back thrust on. If I try and drive with this on, probably going to be a hell of a lot harder to control because I'm now going turbo speed. It is crazy. I probably should have done this on a flat world, hence I just turned it upside down there. Oh, it's probably going to turn itself back round though, maybe, with the downward thrusters, but hey, we won't look at that. We'll just turn it straight over ourselves. There we go. Okay then, so we know that 1 is the door there, we know that 2 is the lights, we know that 3 was the rear thrust there. Pretty awesome looking. So what does 4 do? Well, let's have a look around about here. As I press 4, this happens. Oh yeah. Why did that side not do it? Come on, don't let me down now. Come on, you can do this. There we go. 4 turns these little sides into guns. So we get these little flaps that open up. Guns come out on pistons, which you can see inside of there. And then they turn around on a bearing to face forward. These Gatling cannons are part of the Legend mod. That's another reason this has the Legend mod included in it. So you will need that in order to use this build. This will be on the workshop, of course. Now, whilst those guns are out, there's a little bearing on them and they can spin. And that little sensor that you see underneath the gun that will trip, as you see, when the gun comes down, that enables it to spin. So whilst that sensor is on, I can actually press the 5 key and there we go. We get this lovely firing motion. Just shooting off his machine guns there, and that is enabled with sound by this little doohickey under here that's spinning around and flicking that sensor on and off, which is then in turn making that speaker at the front there make those pops and bangs, so it sounds like the guns are actually firing. So all pretty cool. Like I say, you can't do that whilst it's inside. It will automatically turn off if you try to, and you can't use them once they're in there. Pressing 5 now will do nothing, otherwise the bullets would have fired out the back of the actual car, and that would look very strange indeed. Now there is one more thing that this car does. One more thing that I wanted it to do. I wanted a horn, and not just any old horn. I wanted a specific sounding horn. Now I couldn't figure a way of getting it in here and actually getting it compact enough to fit. So what I've done is I've got myself a series of speakers here with some buttons. I have 4 separate different speakers, or 4 notes, and you have to play them in turn to get the tune that I wanted. So let's just try it. So it's 66778877, 6677887799. It is the Batman theme, of course. The only way I could figure it out to get it in there. So yes, just remember 66778877, 6677887799, and there it is. Obviously you could play other tunes if you can think of some that use the same notes. But there you go, that is my build. Sorry this video is a little bit late and I haven't had a scrap mechanic video out just recently. I'm trying to get them out on Saturdays, so I get scrap Saturdays, but I kind of missed that deadline this week. But yeah, hope you liked it. If you did, of course, as always, why not spank the hell out of that thumbs up button? And don't forget to subscribe for more retrospects. And until next time, I'll try not to hit a tree. If you enjoyed this build, as always, why not spank the hell out of that thumbs up button? Don't forget to subscribe for more retrospects. And until next time, see you soon, and bye for now.